everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. You are listening to the Wise Coffee Chat Show on WRMN 1410. Super excited to be here this morning with my guest. I love her name, by the way. It's such a beautiful name, but we'll talk more about it. So who am I first and foremost? My name is Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Wise Alliance Network, Wise, Women's Institute of Self-Development and Efficacy, and also the newest author of Wise Women Empower Women. And you can find that on Amazon. Real estate investor and a mom of three beautiful girls. So that is who I am. But enough about me. I'm excited to let my guest introduce herself. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Hi, everybody. My name is Behati Hart. Behati is pronounced like Betty, but with a ha in the middle, because I hope to make you laugh today. I am an author of a newly released memoir called Just Be, Unmasking and Becoming Human Again. I'm a veteran and a life architect. That means I take life coaching to the next level. I
love that. And I asked you while we were doing the whole setting up, right? And I said, where did your name come from? You know, I've never, such a unique name. And I love unique names. I mean, I named my daughter Ines. Like, that's like not a very common name. So like, but what your name? Just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So I was born as Betty, Betty. And I was named after a woman that my mother was inspired by. She had me at a very young age. And so she named me after a woman who looked after her, take care of her. Oh. And then I took a spiritual journey. I would say it started about 9 or 10 years ago now. And on that journey, I took a DNA test. Okay. And a DNA test led me back to the motherland. And the motherland led me to a new name. And nice. That new name became Behati.
I love that name. And the Behati means again what?
It means blessed and she brings happiness.
I love that.
That's my job.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an important job. Someone's got to do it now. So you went on the spiritual journey. You took the DNA test. I'm just curious, did you take it through Ancestry?
I sure did. Yeah. I took the Ancestry, spit in a tube, send it off. Yeah. And it came back 50% West African, and everyone knows that storyline thus far. Benin, Togo, Nigeria. And then I have a 25% indigenous. So I've been tracing that indigenous trait through Mesoamerica, and now it's landing in the Navajo Hopi tribe region. So I hope to pilgrimage there one day. And then the other 25% is Spaniard Iberian Peninsula, which lands me between Mexico, Puerto Rico, which is my mother's DNA.
That's awesome. So just a little side note, my daughter, when she was about, I don't know when Moana came out. What was that? Like when she was 11 or 12, she swore she wanted to be a Pacific Islander. Like she was like, I just want to know if I'm like, she's deep down felt like she was from,
like, I feel something in my soul.
Yeah. And I was like, well,
it happens. So the soul will call you forward and take you on that journey. And so that's what happened for me.
So we did that for her for Christmas.
Yeah.
She got it. She was disappointed. She was like, there was no Pacific Islander, not a drop at all. There was some Chile. Like someone's from Chile in her ancestry.
There's an interesting percentage, I don't know the data, of Asian people in Latin America, South America, the Caribbean. Yeah. You'd be surprised.
And for her, it was just like we had more, well, obviously me and her father, it was like Italian, Portuguese. Mm-hmm. There was some French and English, and of course the Spaniard and the Mexico, right? Like the indigenous side of Mexico, and Arabic, and there was like 3% from Africa or Seneca or something like that. So I was like, Mommy, I'm sorry, like you did not get the Pacific Islander, but you have a lot of other cool stuff, And
that's, again, that part of the journey is for me so important because it tells you who you are and why you love what you love, wear what you wear, think how you think. It's all part of the DNA of your belief system, your identity.
Yes. I think we were also kind of matching, like, because you're wearing orange and yellow and I'm wearing kind of orange. So today we kind of woke up, must have been like mentally like, oh, we're going to wear bright colors. Yeah. But I know that we've known each other I've known of you for a while.
Same, yes.
Just never formally knew you, right?
Have coffee talk.
Yeah. So now we're having our coffee talk. I love that. And you're drinking, what are you drinking actually?
I'm drinking chai tea. So I'm a foodie and I've lived in a lot of beautiful places and I have a lot of friends from different races and ethnicities and nationalities. And so I love to explore, like, what do you like to eat? What do you like to listen to? Fashion is huge for me as well. So I meet people at the intersection of the arts.
Oh, I love that.
And so, when I lived in Hawaii, so talking about Hawaii,
okay, cool.
We were a military family once upon a time, and we lived in Hawaii for a while. And I went to a cafe and it had chai tea, and I'm like, that sounds interesting, and fell in love. Haven't looked back. Chai tea is my jam.
Chai tea. Yeah, because usually I ask guests, like, what do you like to drink, right? And then it's like water, tea, coffee. I like sugary stuff. So I'm just like, oh, it just tells you a little bit about personas and personalities, I think.
Food
right?
definitely will tell you a lot about people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's dabble into that. Let's dabble into that. Tell me, why do you think that?
I think that, food will let you explore spaces and places with other people. Like I said, eating other cultures' food. Like, was it last weekend? We had Taste of Chicago.
Yep, I was there.
What a great starting point. But I encourage people to go into the neighborhoods and like really sit in and break bread with people.
I love that because I always like the little hole in the wall restaurants.
Yeah.
I like the little neighborhood restaurants that no one knows about.
Yes.
Like, yes,
I will gatekeep a good restaurant.
Will you? Oh no, I gotta pick your brain or become your friend or something. If you got some,
you don't know about this.
I love going into neighborhoods and just finding something different. And I know that there's a lot of beautiful restaurants in like River North and downtown. And yes, I get it, but like I want to support the mom pop shops, right? And they got the good food, So I love that you said that because you experience a whole nother world.
Yeah, and even just talking to the staff there, right? Just kind of hearing their story, and they just have this beautiful story of how they got started when they moved here. And they just saw an opportunity and they wanted to share a gift, right? Make a seat at the table for people to learn about them. But what I like to do is introduce people to exotic food experiences, especially when there's some heat involved.
Okay.
Like I love spicy food.
Do you? Okay.
And so like Indian food is probably the hottest.
I love Indian food.
It is so mean. It is so mean.
It's so good though.
But it's so good.
And I love, actually, my favorite experience was Ethiopian, going to an Ethiopian restaurant. It was just so much fun. And I was like,
eating with your hands.
And just like, this is like a big tortilla. Like we're just, ripping from it. It was just, I loved it.
Yeah. And when I started like really committing to this soul journey, this spiritual journey 10 years ago, bread was the thing that kind of expanded my understanding of humanity and other people and other cultures and how we actually are connected. Because once upon a time, I practiced Messianic Judaism. And in that space, in that religion, we have to honor the holy days. And one of the holy days was Feast of Unleavened Bread. And I was like, I don't want to eat these dry crackers they got on the shelves at the grocery store. And so I started researching, like, what are other flatbreads around the world? What are some other things? And turns out tortillas are a flatbread. And I was like, oh. And I just kept going from there. I was like, roti is a flatbread and some forms of naan are a flatbread. And I was like, wait a minute. So we all know how to make flatbread. How else are we connected here but disconnected? And so that kind of got the ball rolling on my spiritual journey.
Really? So tell me a little bit, because I know you do coaching.
Yes.
I know you also, like you said, you were in the military. Your bio is very interesting.
Yes.
How did you fall into this world of like the coaching side?
You know what? So I'm going to go back a little bit to my origin story. When I was growing up in Chicago, from the South Side, and my stepfather was like, you know what, Mija, you're a jack of all trades and a master of none. Because I wanted to do everything in entertainment. I want to dance. I want to be on stage. I want to act and model and all the things art. I wanted to go to Columbia College. And I remember him taking me there for an open house. And then I realized, they don't have dorms. I can't live at home and then come all the way out here. It's just not viable. So I joined the military, and not coincidentally, for the 10 years I was in there, I had like 3 different jobs. I just kept retraining. Like, I don't like this anymore. I'm going to try something else. And so I just kept evolving. When I got out of the military after 10 years, I went to school for organizational behavior. And then I realized I actually really like this. I like how people see themselves inside an organization and how it just kind of becomes this ecosystem of different personality types. And so I got a master's degree in human behavior, and I studied personality types. So the work that I did for quite some time was around career development.
I love that.
And in that space, I got trained on so many different assessments for personalities.
I love that.
Me too. It was so fun. And it just helped me understand more about myself and how I can help other people. And so for over a decade, I ran a program with Department of Defense and Department of Labor in Veteran Employment Services. And I noticed a trend that when we get out of uniform, we kind of go through this, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I don't know what direction to take. And so I ended up kind of quasi-coaching, uncertified coaching, but that was what we were trained to do. We were called work-life consultants. So it was a fancy term for coaching.
Yeah, I was like, for a coach.
And so I did that for over a decade and then just kept evolving from there and got background in design and strategy and innovation. And so that led me to, you know what, I think I'm going to just officially become a coach, because what happens with coaches typically is like people keep coming to me for advice, and I think I could turn this into something like maybe a business side little thing. And so my last stint in the government actually opened a really big door for me. So after I got officially certified with Jay Shetty's coaching school, the organization I was working with was like, hey, we do coaching here and employees can have some time together and coach each other. Would you be interested? And I was like, sure. So once a week, I would coach a few employees and I kind of got my feet wet. And so I just kept expanding from there. And I was like, what would coaching look like if I added design and strategy? What would it look like if I added spiritual systems? And so that's why I call myself a life architect, because I integrate all these other systems that I have a background in to help people think outside the box.
Well, that's great. And I love the fact that you love personality tests. And shout out to everyone that's watching on social media.
Hey.
Thank you for supporting. I see Anthony, he put Happy Wednesday. So, and any questions you guys have, just feel free to throw it out there. But, you know, I've always loved personality tests because I feel like, and I've said this before, like you can figure yourself out.
You totally can.
And be able to figure out how to navigate the world better when you have full understanding of, oh, this is how I operate.
Yes.
And self-awareness is half of the battle.
It's a battle.
It's I agree.
You will be fighting for your own life with yourself.
I agree, right? And I think like I've always been a big person on I need to get coached because I also am a coach, right? So I need to get coached because I know that it's critical for me to make sure I'm at the best capacity I can be so that I can help other people, right? So Myers-Briggs, the other one, Enneagrams. I haven't done that one. I had Strength Finders. So like all these ones I've taken, it's like, oh, this is great. Now I know how to like, what type of person are you? Yeah. Oh, okay. I kind of figure you out, right?
Yeah, there's so many. And I find them so valuable. So in my coaching framework, I take people on a journey. And the journey usually starts with 5 weeks because that's all I have the capacity for. But I introduce them to remembrance. That's the phase that I call it. And I introduce them to systems within their belief system. Like some people will come to me Muslim, some may come to me Hindu, some may come to me Christian, some may come to me atheist. I meet them where they are, and then I introduce them to personality assessments and systems from their particular belief systems. So sometimes people don't understand, like, we've been doing this like since day one. We have been assigning archetypes to ourselves. Like everybody subscribes to a zodiac. I subscribe to numerology. I'm a life path 9. I mean, there's so many different archetypes and energies out in the world that guide us and remind us who we are. So that's why I strongly believe we did come here with a soul contract, and we are fulfilling that contract through the lessons that we have. And sometimes we forget why we're here. And that's why people get lost in their purpose. Like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and I don't know what to do now that something has ended in my life. So those systems have become really valuable when I coach my clients because it helps them understand themselves more.
Yeah, I like that. And it is kind of hard, especially when people are going through transitions. Or like you said, sometimes people attach their identity to a job or to a person or to a thing, right? So it's like, how do you, what you're doing is important because sometimes people are stuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know how to move. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, and you, with even the fact just listening to you said you had a military background, you were always moving.
I was on the go.
You were all, so you couldn't, you couldn't attach yourself.
No,
right?
We couldn't get settled in. So for a very long time, and I'll start with, my story started last year in March when I was released, freed, emancipated from my position. And I say that very lovingly because I really, really did enjoy where I was working and who I was working with. But times were changing and some philosophies came in and decided we don't need you all anymore and just abolished a lot of positions. That was the email that came in. And that triggered my ancestors so much because as a woman and a woman of color, we tend to overdo things just to prove our point. And we wear these masks and perform in these spaces just to be validated and valuable to the organization. And although it wasn't personal, it felt deeply personal, especially when programs that were designed to protect us were also being ripped out of different organizations. And over 600,000 women at last count had either left forcefully or voluntarily the workforce system last year. So I was in this space of kind of like a rage and a tearing down and a deconstructing of my identity. And I had to sit in that fire and just kind of forge a new identity. And so now my work is just all centered on helping people figure out who they are before they figure out what they want to be.
And that's important because how do you know, like we said earlier, how do you know how to help people if you don't really even know yourself, or you're not aware, right, of what your situation is, or your traumas, or your habits, or your persona, right? Like, I think that's very powerful. So, okay, so tell me now, right, you have a book, life coaching, right? Now you have a book out, correct? So tell what made you decide to become an author?
So it's actually an interesting.
I love your laugh. You said
because there's so much to the story. It's like I wish I could make this up, but I believe in divine timing. So in February last year, I was talking to a relative, and they were having a very philosophical, psychedelic experience.
Okay.
And they were like, I spoke to God, and God said, you're going to write a book. And I was like, me? No way. I hate writing. A month later, this removal from my career happened, to, the deconstruction of my career. And then I had a back surgery. While I was on my back, I was so upset, and I was really, really depressed. And I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, I have no purpose. I have no job. I have nothing. That's what I thought. A month later, I had a divine visitation with Mary Magdalene. And I write about this at the very last chapter of my book. But she came to me for 6 days and invited me to learn a little bit more about myself and how women biblically have endured certain things, and I can get through this. So she was really just pep talking me through it. And at the end, she said, you need to tell your story, and you need to tell other people to tell their story. Mm-hmm. And so by June, I sat down and I said, okay, let me just purge. Let me just get all this stuff out of me. And I was using AI at the time. I had gotten certified as an AI consultant. And so I was using AI, like my brain hurts. I have all these thoughts, these voice memos. I have my journal entries. So I was just inputting that into AI. And I kept hearing, just be, like a whisper. And so I decided to call my book Just Be, because in that moment of pause, when you have nothing, when everything is taken from you, kind of like Jonah and the whale, like you're by yourself and you have to just be still and you have to listen to the voice. And that voice gave me everything I needed to write this book. And so in 90 days, the book was completed. And then in January, it got published.
Oh, congrats. And that's actually, there's people that it takes them years.
I know, I've heard.
Like years.
I was like, really? It takes that long? I mean,
literally.
I respect that. It was, as a mother, and to the mothers in the audience, the only way I could describe the physical experience of writing for me, when you're writing from a place of growth and becoming, is literally giving birth to a child. Like my body would shut down for days, and then I'd get back up and go on this like ravage writing spree and then go down again. And what I was realizing is that my nervous system was rewriting itself, and it was resetting, and it was telling itself a new story. So it was when I talk about battle, right? When we talk about battle, there was a spiritual, physical, mental, emotional battle happening within me while I was writing this book, but it was necessary. I had to trust the process.
I love that. So me, and what I like to do is I like to do more of the accountability coaching, right? Yeah. So when I put my book together, and I had 8 women, right, that are going to put stories together. So I thought to myself, okay, and they're going to talk about their traumas and they're going to talk about things that they've gone through, right? So I already knew from the get-go, because of the industry, like there's going to be a lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of procrastination, because you procrastinate when you don't want to deal with it, when you don't want to write it or face it.
Right, because it's a vulnerability moment too. It's like, once I put this out in the world, it's there. I cannot retract
You
it.
can't. It's done. It's over, right? So I just remember saying, okay, I'm going to put accountability calls together for these women and make sure that they're dealing with their emotions, their processes, right? And then they're still writing, or at least they know, hey, we need to write 2,000 words and you have this deadline. Like every week we're going to meet and I want to know how many words you've written, you know? And they were like, Jennifer, you're nuts. But I'm like,
This feels like school. I don't like it.
But it was funny because my publisher was like, I'm going to hire you because it takes a long time for people to do things like that, to write, because you're putting your heart out. And sometimes I was the procrastinator for my own chapter, because I was like, oh, I'm processing, I'm dealing with trauma right now. Let me, you know, and it's a lot. It could be a lot.
Yeah. But it's also very cathartic, right? So after I wrote the book, I was like, whoo, Mama needs to lay down for a little while. And then when I launched the book, it was really a beautiful moment. I launched on January 11, 2026.
Nice.
And it was both. So I retired from government. So I officially retired. I was starting a new brand in identity, and I'm becoming an author, and I'm launching a book. So it was kind of like this beautiful trifecta, like you're becoming someone new. So celebrate that. So that's how we entered into the new year.
I love that. That's what drove you. So when you left military, you launched the book.
No,
wait.
No, so I'm going to date myself.
Oh.
So I served from 93 to 2003.
Okay.
And then after that, I was a military spouse. My husband continued to serve.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And during that time of my military spouse, I got my education, raised 2 daughters, and I got entered into federal government.
Federal
officially.
government.
Yeah.
Okay. It was federal. So when you left federal government, that's when you did the book.
I left federal government.
Gotcha.
So it was like a chapter had closed and a new one was beginning.
And that's great. And then that kind of goes with the new identity that now you're leading with, right? Yes. Which I think, and I guess there's a lot of times I meet people and they struggle with their identity, or even like their brand or whatever they put themselves out there. Like, what would be one of your tips of like, okay, I need to start reconstructing my identity? What would be one of the biggest things you would advise?
So for me, what I had to do was return to that inner child work.
Okay.
And meet the young woman that I abandoned at 18 who wanted to be a genuine creative. And I was like, okay, honey, what does that look like at 51? Because I am 51. You know, we don't have access to things. We've been absent from this industry for 30 years. Like, what does being a creative and an author look like at 51? And I started with just my look, right? Like, how do I feel comfortable wearing colors now? Because I'm not having to wear these, you know, I was pretty fly in corporate and government, but I couldn't wear like neon green pants and sneakers.
Yeah. There's certain colors you got to stay away from, right?
So I'm like, I have to keep it, you know, neutral. So like, what does it look like when my hair is wild and my nails are loud and my lipstick's loud? Like, being a little bit louder and returning to that fun fashion space. And then also the language, like, how am I speaking about what I do? I don't want to put so much emphasis on who I was before. I want to talk about who I am also becoming and how I'm meeting people along the way. So for me, it's not about chasing clout, being an influencer, being super popular. It's more so like, I know who I am. I know I have a message and a mission, and that is my ministry. And I'm going to speak about it. And whoever comes along, you are welcome.
Wow. So we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to take a quick short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about, you know, everything that she's doing, how to develop an identity, talk more about the book. So make sure you guys stay tuned and don't touch that dial. We are back. You are listening to the Wise Coffee Chat Show on WRMN 1410. You can learn more about WRMN 1410 by going to WRMN1410.com. And super excited to be here again this morning with Behati. We've been talking about why she got into coaching, what made her start her book called Just Be, and just even getting to know, like, if someone's trying to create a new identity, right? Mm-hmm. How do they start? Right?
Yes. So therein lies the deep work of being a human. And so the subtitle of my book is Unmasking and Becoming Human Again. When I was in that mode of like transforming last year, I took a assessment online because I was feeling like something was off. Now, I'm perimenopausal, so I know it was partly that, but there was still something else. And so I took a therapy assessment, and it was like, oh, you have traits of ADD, ADHD, anxiety. And I was like, oh, now it all makes sense. I'm neurodiverse. Got it.
I didn't want to ask that question, but because you kept saying you kept switching things, I was like, I know she's a neurodivergent.
Like, oh my gosh, this is why. And so I journeyed a little bit more to research that for myself, and come to find out that a lot of women, or a lot of people, get late diagnosed.
Yep, me too.
And these systems, these assessments weren't designed for women or people of color. And so I struggled with that so long, but I learned this term called masking. And then it became even more clear to me that we wear masks to perform in identities. For example, your job title, or, you know, whatever position you hold in the church or in the school or in a community organization. We are very, as you mentioned earlier, tied to an identity that provides a status symbol. So when all of my quote unquote status symbols were removed or torn down, I kept going with that. I was like, who am I when I'm not a mother? Who am I when I'm not a daughter? Who am I when I'm not a sister? Like, let's keep excavating. Who am I when I'm just Behati? Who am I when that name is taken away? Who am I as a human being?
Wow.
And when I got there, it was dark and it was scary. And in some spaces, they call this the dark night of the soul. Now, I visited this space a couple times before. And so I started calling it the valley of the shadow of death. And so for me, I had to meet those versions of myself with grace and wish them well. Sayonara, arrivederci, eulogize them, honor them, say thank you for your service, but you're not coming with me on the rest of this journey. And so I truly had to have an identity death. So when we talk about how do people do this work, you have to be willing to have an ego death, an identity death, or be able to look at the systems that you operate from and say, you know what, this is no longer serving me. I don't feel comfortable here. I feel stuck. I feel lost. This is unfamiliar. And we're seeing this happen already globally. And everyone knows, like, something's changing, something feels wrong. People are speaking out on different social issues. It's because your soul knows that something has to change, but you have to start from within. So the work that I do is deconstructing identity from the inside out, and we go deep.
No, and I think, I mean, I love that you do that, because there's been so many times, I was just saying this to someone, I've reinvented my identity so many times, and we
do it unconsciously, but what happens when you do it consciously?
Yeah.
That is scary.
And that is, and even right now, I'm like, okay, I'm in a new season. I need to, again, revamp. I need to figure out this new identity that I'm going towards now as an author and all this stuff, right? What does that look like?
Right.
And it is uncomfortable, and
Totally.
But I hate, one of my pet peeves, and maybe you also, maybe you can relate or resonate with this. I don't like having masks. I don't like not being myself.
Yeah.
Especially for me, being married for 18 years and being with someone who I always felt like I had to have a mask, or I had to be another person to survive that marriage.
Well, that's what masks are intended for, right?
For protection.
Yeah. So when I wrote an article after I wrote my book that unmasking is the new success strategy. And I stand by that 10 toes down, because a lot of people are realizing, again, women specifically, and that's who I primarily work with, is I've been wearing these roles and titles and you just threw me out with the trash. So I don't need to pretend anymore. And women of my age, women who are mid-century modern,
I don't even know I don't even know how I feel about that. Mid-century modern.
When they call us, aged and things like that, because we're in our menopausal days, I'm like, no, we're mid-century modern, babe. We got some things to say.
Mid-century modern.
There's this philosophy that women who get older just don't give a damn anymore. They just say what they want. And I'm like, because the masks are off.
The masks are done. We got rid of them.
Oh, yeah. We gave you our best years, but you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. And I think 100% agree with what you're saying, right? And you're right. The mask is to protect yourself, right? And I can say this for my own personal life. Like now it's like, I'm going to do what I want, when I want, how I want, because I'm enjoying this person that I truly am. And so many years, whether it was marriage or working for corporate or even through religion, it was like I had to be this type of person.
Yeah,
I had to act and carry myself this way, But I think it's just so freeing when you can be authentically yourself.
Absolutely. And to get to authenticity, because I know this is like the new word of the year. Everybody's like, I want to be authentic. Everything needs to be authentic. You cannot be authentic if you don't know who you are.
Yep.
And again, it requires you to do a full deconstructing, deprogramming, decolonizing, whatever you want to call it, but it requires you to strip all the way down. So in the first, I think the preface of my book, I said, I'm standing in the mirror nude and I'll be clean about it. But I was like, who the hell are you now, woman? And then I had to examine myself. Like I didn't recognize who I was looking at in the mirror. And I think oftentimes as women, we put on we peacock, right? We makeup, hair, clothing, jewelry. We peacock to portray something to the world. But when we take all of that off and we truly see ourselves, there is this beautiful thing that indigenous cultures do that's called soul gazing, where they sit across from another person and you just look in their eyes and you can see past the flesh and the vehicle. And so I soul gaze with myself. And I had been doing this with my clients already. We start with mirror work sometimes. And we just look in a mirror. It's like, who are you? Who do you see? Who is that version? And oftentimes, if not most times, they see their younger self come forward. And so when my younger 18-year-old self came forward, she was like, what are we doing now? Because we don't have to do that anymore. What are we going to do now? Can we finally become who we were?
You're meant to be. Yeah. I heard you say earlier about like how to be like this creative, right? And again, the environment that you're in will influence it, right? So when I started teaching here at this school, being around creatives all the time, I was like, hey, this is getting my juices flowing right here. Like, I want to go create some content. Yesterday they were laughing at me because I'm running around doing a video and I started getting into it. Like, they were like, you need to do a speed tour of the campus. I was like, a speed tour? What's a speed tour, right? They basically wanted me to run around and be like, and someone recording me. And at first I felt silly. I was like, okay. But then, I started getting into it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get into it. And it was fun, right? But then when you're around the energies that are like that, it's like, oh, what can I create now? What can I do now? What can I put together now? And it's just once you see the product, it's like, wow. So like I almost see us as identities as we are a product also, totally. Right? How do we want this to look? Yes. Right? Like you said, the
brand, like what does the brand look like that I thought I wanted to be in the 90s in 2026? Like, what does that look like? I wanted to go back to really quick. I love how you said like running through and playing and being with your fellow creatives. When I started to settle into this newness of this identity that I'm building, and again, doing some soul work, talking to my younger inner child self. And I was like, okay, we're going to do only a few things moving forward. This is the criteria. We must play, we must talk, we must learn, and we must teach. And so anything that I agree to do has to fit in one or all of those buckets if we're lucky. And so my work week now consists of like 4 days of talking and learning and teaching, and then 2 days of play, especially Saturday. Hard, do not disturb, going outside, I'm going to play. And I've been committing myself to meet more creatives and be in those spaces with them to just learn what's new. Like, how y'all doing? Where you going? What you eating for lunch? Where are we hanging out? Right. Yeah. I want to understand like, what is the creator world like? Because I have been in these other ecosystems, government, community, and all of that specifically. But I want to understand like, what does someone who does photography do for a living? What does a dancer do? Like, what are you doing with your lives? What did I miss?
Yeah, and especially because you wanted to go to Columbia,
Exactly.
so it's like,
shout out to Columbia College.
yeah. Now we're up there.
Right.
We're up there.
Shout out to Illinois Media School.
I'm just saying, it's crazy because a lot of times our students, just throwing it out there, they're in stations, radio, TV with Columbia students, right?
Okay.
So it's always like Illinois Media School, Columbia.
Hey, there's room for everybody at the table.
Yeah, there is. So I just want to make sure that, these guys, they get their plug. But, at the end of the day, this is a fun space. And I love that you said, I try to do something fun twice a week, you said, right?
Strictly fun. This weekend, I'm going to solo, right? And even independently, my family, they get it, but they're like, we can't go with you everywhere, Mom. You got to go by yourself.
I love
music, especially house music from Chicago.
Yeah.
And so this weekend there is an event at the Salt Shed, and there's some DJs.
Oh, I did watch that. Yeah, I saw that.
From different spaces. Big Daddy Kane's going to be there. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm going to go and just make some new friends and just hear some good music and have a good time. And that's going to be my play date for Saturday.
Yeah. And that's usually, I love doing things by myself because you meet people and you talk to people and you're just having conversations. Yeah. And that even doing something new is a coping mechanism, is a stress reliever, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things that I love to encourage, do something fun. I'm the same, on the same boat with you. I always do something fun. Some people be like, you be outside. I be outside. I have fun, right? Because it's so long, and yes, I'm a mom, yes, I love my children. But F them sometimes. No, just no.
You can't come everywhere.
You can't come everywhere, right? It was funny because one of my friends, when we went to Taste of Chicago last week, she had a hat and said, F them kids. And I was just like, I need that hat.
That's my daughter's favorite phrase. Shout out to my daughter.
Is that what she says?
Yeah.
But it's we are stuck to the identity of, I have to be a mom. And then how much do women shun you or make you feel bad, or even as a community or culturally, they try to make you feel bad because you're not that person. You're not at home all the time baking cookies and being with your kids and spending time. So you get mistreated because of that, or talked down to. That's not right either, right?
Not at all. That's the lens by which they judge you, right? They judge you and they don't understand or refuse to understand what that's about. When I started receiving coaching many, many years ago, it was about 6 or 7 years ago, one of my challenges, my hurdles was judgment. It was placing judgment on other people because they didn't fall into this linear philosophy that I had on the way the world should be, or women should be, or people should be. And so I struggled with that judgment, and I had to go and do that work. And what that revealed to me was that my belief system is not one size fits all. It's not rated E for everybody. And just because that person likes X and I don't like it, I shouldn't treat them any less than me. And then I did some spiritual work around that, and just kind of looking at how other cultures and other belief systems manage this. And that actually led me to Eastern ideologies and philosophies. And it was a beautiful experience because it was we're all from one source. We are all from the same stardust. And I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, well, I can release the judgment, because now I understand what that was. It was an ego. It was a shadow side of me that was operating to protect me. And so I don't do that anymore.
And that's amazing. And I love that you don't do that. But I also feel the same way. Hey, at the end of the day, we have to be open to everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get to learn from people, when you're open to just listening. Yeah. So I can really appreciate what you just said. And earlier we were talking about experimenting different things. I just tried snake at the Taste. Okay. Did you go to the Taste and did you stop by? You didn't go?
Not. It was too hot. I was inside playing with the creatives.
Oh, well, I was outside. Usually Sunday mornings I like to run or be at the lakefront or something. So I was like, you know what, let's go to the Taste and see what they got. Since it's free, we're walking through there anyways, right? Not free the food, but it's free entry. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna try snake. And I tried it and I hated it. I was like, never again will I eat snake. But alligator. Gator was good. Gator was good though.
I've tried gator. So I was gonna say, when we talk about what people eat, we'll tell you a little bit more about them. So my first duty assignment in the military was the panhandle of Florida. So it's Fort Walton Beach, Herbert Field Air Force Base, and Lower Alabama. So like that whole like Gulf area. And I remember going to this bar on the beach with some friends, and they had gator bites.
They were good. I didn't know.
I didn't like them.
You didn't like them?
I didn't like them, but I was being adventurous, but I was like, they eat this down here? Like they eat this animal? But I was like, you know what? When in Rome. And so it was interesting that you said snake, because again, you're willing to try new things. You're not, you're not afraid to explore and be adventurous. So that's how I can tell, like, if somebody wants to do something real exotic and eat something different than what our culture assigns us to eat all the time. It's like, I'm going to try something different.
Yeah, I'm usually the person who likes to explore and try different things and to see where that takes me, But it's I don't know, it's just freeing, I guess, to do things like that, right? So I can appreciate what you're talking about. So what are some things that are coming for you now? Like, what is it within the next year that you're trying to achieve, or what are some goals that you're trying to knock out now moving forward, now that you're an author and you're pursuing this new track?
Yeah, great question. I won't say I struggle with that, but the bar keeps shifting, and I feel like I'm going with the flow. For the first time in my life, I'm releasing control, which was one of the things that I struggled with growing up, is like, I have to control everything because I was the oldest child and I grew up in a Hispanic household, and I was responsible for a lot of things. And that responsibility was met with consequences if you didn't achieve those expectations. And so there was some abuse there. And so for a long time, I struggled with failing and what that meant. And even though I worked in education once upon a time, and I heard this wonderful acronym called FAIL, First Attempt in Learning, that shifted something for me, but I didn't embody it until recently. And now that I don't have any bars holding me back, any shackles on my feet, I can fail forward, I can fail backwards. It doesn't matter, because I've set my life up, and I've been so blessed to not have to work. But I'm choosing to take this next journey and trust the process. So the goal really for me is to trust the process.
I love that you're in this space. And I think my opinion and what I'm learning, because I'm in my own, I'm in a healing journey, right? Healing is never, it's like I've always been told by my mentor, it's like an onion. Yeah. You peel one piece, but there's another layer. Now you peel that layer and there's another layer. It's a constant, like, oh, I didn't know I had to deal with this, right? But with saying what you're saying, I'm also in that place of like, control to me has always been a way to protect myself. Yeah. Controlling outcomes, controlling situations, even controlling people, right? Yeah. It's connected to fear.
Absolutely.
Right. So the fact that you're saying I'm just going with the flow, it's empowering, because it's like you're no longer connected to that fear. Yes. Right. And I'm in that season too, where it's like, I'm just going to let go. Yeah. And just not, because I've been so used to trying to protect myself and control this, control that. I need this to go this way. I need this to go that way, because that's just how I operate. And then realizing like, no, it's actually more freeing to not. Yeah. And I'm not going to be fearful, right? Yeah. So I love that you're saying that, because it just kind of triggered, it reminded me of where I'm at in my season right now. I realized that when Mary Magdalene came to me, it was almost like, girl, do you see me now? Do you feel me? Do you hear? Your faith was there, but it was so weak and so small that something had to jolt you into this role. And so now I cannot deny what I know, that I'm divinely guided. And so if I trust that and I go with the flow of that, everything's going to land where it needs to land. Yeah. Everything that's coming to me, every sign, symbol, message, everything to me is just like, just keep going until you can't no more. You're only here for a good time, not a long time, babe. Yeah, I love that. It's almost like control. When you need that control, you're literally telling God you don't trust him. Right. So it's like, do I trust God or do I not trust God? Right. I actually do trust God. And since you're being divinely led, yes, right, then he's gonna lead you, take you to the right people, connect you to the right places. Like, I even believe, like, in divine appointments. Like, we've known about each other for years.
Yep. But the timing.
Was never right. But now the timing is here where we're connected, right? Why? And I always think about those things. Like, well, why now in this season in my life am I being connected to this person?
Yeah.
Right? Versus it could have happened 2 years ago, but maybe I wasn't in the right mental space.
Right.
Or you weren't in the right mental space for that connection.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always think about things like that.
Timing, hands down.
Yes.
Like, that is my watch.
or whatever. Or some people like to talk about frequencies, right? What frequency are you in? That's attracting those people.
Yeah. I studied it all. I had to make it make sense. So my work sits at the intersection of spiritual alchemy and neuroscience and
I love that.
metaphysics. And I like all of it. My book is about that. It's the journey of many spaces that I've entered into to make it make sense. My body, my spirit was constantly searching for an anchor. Like, I see these numbers, make it make sense. Oh, they're angel numbers. Okay, I'm divinely guided because I keep seeing a number. That must be my grandfather. That must be another person. Oh, I get it now. When I studied different religions and looking at how these different philosophies, there is a merging point for all of them. And it's just be, love, have no fear, believe in who you serve. So all of it that I've studied has led me to, girl, just do it, or just be, because the other one's Nike.
Oh yeah,
but I can't deny what I know now, and I can't deny who I know that I am, and so I'm just going with the flow.
I love it. And then it's okay that it might evolve into something else.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people beat themselves up because I'm not this.
Yeah.
Or I don't turn out to be like this. Like, you might become a whole nother, you might see Behati, content creator, or, doing all other type of stuff. Yeah. Restaurants and stuff like that. Right.
I might be on a food show one day called Our Daily Bread.
There you go.
Putting it out there in the universe. I want to be a food tourist for bread.
Oh, I love that. See, you never know where things are going to lead you when you're open like
Absolutely.
that. Like, and I'm a big believer in quantum shifting, quantum leaping.
Oh, I'm hopping.
Yeah. So
me too.
Sometimes that one decision that you take that goes and it will take you to another direction in your life. And I'm like a big leaper, jumper, whatever you want to call it. I'm constantly doing some hoop.
Yes.
Like,
and sometimes I feel it too viscerally. I'm like, woo, feeling a little dizzy. Must have just jumped.
Something must have happened. Something must have happened.
Where are we going?
Yeah.
Another thing that I've been doing is putting together some content and conversations around tying it together. So being raised in Western religiosity, oftentimes it becomes very controlled and restricted, whereas Eastern is very open and universal. And what I've come to understand now is Yeshua, Jesus, did these things. He did these mystical, metaphysical things. And I'm like, dang, I need to go back in and learn how he did that.
Oh, this is a great conversation.
Yes.
I would love to learn stuff like that. Oh, we need a part 2. But
Jesus is a mystic.
So if anyone wants to connect with you, where would they go?
Yes. So my website is BehatiHart.com. I'm on most of the social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. And then you might see me outside in Chicago at the House Music Fest or anywhere where there's art or music or food.
Oh,
Come
look at that. Go say hi if you see her. Thank you so much, Behati, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Liza says she wants to also hop too, so we got you. You're going to hop with us. And then you guys, everyone watching, thank you so much. This is Jennifer Sanchez from the Wise Coffee Chat Show on WRMN 1410. Thank you so much, guys. You have a great rest of your week. God bless.